Now I am. Okay. Anyway, if you know me, you know about my redundancy things, and there was windscale, which used the most amount of graphite that was ever put together. There were graphite core in the windscale, which I believe maybe even Howard Hughes might have actually been part of and actually helping with, was the most amount of graphite that had ever been accumulated, ever, um, for use for anything. And the air cooling was actually a British idea. And basically was to basically test out the metal and do all that, and basically see if they could control a reaction in a reactor. That's all it really was a test reactor to make sure that a reaction could be controlled, and it worked for that. They found out that the reaction could be controlled inside a controlled environment, and it was a British idea, and the British were coming in on that to help out because United Kingdom and Britain and all that, they were pioneering there. The Philippines was bringing in the uranium from over there, and NASA was working over there to do the mining safely. Um, so after windscale, I wanted a production reactor built, and that would probably be the Chernobyl reactor in Russia. And this reactor would be built. I basically insisted after the whole incident in windscale, because there was a lot of cleanup that had to be done, and there was a radiation leak, and there was a large scale contamination, which I wanted to make sure never happened again. So I wanted the Chernobyl reactor, actually, apparently. I didn't know it was Chernobyl at the time, but I wanted the next reactor after that to be built with a basement that could contain a meltdown, as well as a concrete lid on top in case it ever went boom. So the concrete lid was designed to basically absorb the shock, and basically to try and contain an explosion within the housing. So instead of hot water and hot parts basically going bye bye, because one of the other previous things was basically when the Americans did their reactors, they noticed that the control rods went, which is basically highly reactivity material going who knows where. So I wanted a great big giant concrete lid to be on top of the reactor, to contain any flying parts or reactor material, as well as contain the explosion as much. So basically, it was just hot gas and steam that escapes. It was basically boom, lift up and then back down or whatever. Huge concrete lid, and basically a basement underneath to contain any melting particles that would hopefully slag before they just did whatever. I'm not exactly sure if it was a good idea, but that was my basically what I told the engineers, or as a child what I wanted was basically a reactor that even if it blew up it wouldn't matter, or at least it would matter less. So that was so then after windscale they would have moved to, I guess, Chernobyl, and started building the reactor in Chernobyl, which is basically a reactor that was never intended to go critical, but was designed to take it. Um, if ever there was a reactor that you'd want to go critical, it would probably be that one. Um, Hideously expensive, I believe, or time consuming. But when you're talking about radiation and things that could possibly destroy the world, or at least render thousands of acres uninhabitable, no cost, no amount of time is too much to spend. And from the Philippines and all the people that died there, and all the people that the Chinese had to do triage and to try and cure, because like I said, a lot of people had their immune system stripped, and a lot of nasty things, and they actually found out possible accidental cancer. They found all kinds of different information, which we really don't want to find out from the windscale reactor incident. And like I said, that was not really me. I was totally against the air cooled, and I was totally against a lot of the parts with windscale. Like, there was a lot of it that a lot of it was also learning about uranium too. There were people that were eating it and stuff, like I say, and I was advising them not to eat it because we don't know what the long-term effects of radiation are, and they should actually be away from. Like, I didn't know what radiation was or uranium was back then. I was just a child. But I was like, I don't care what you think it is or how safe you think it is. Don't eat it. Don't ingest it. Don't get near it. Let's do controlled laboratory experiments before we assume it's okay. And I wanted like if you know about me and know about the Philippines, you know that there were people dying in the Philippines, and my best guess was put a monkey out in a cage and see what happens. Come back in a month or a week, leave enough food for the monkey so it lives a week, and then see what happens with the monkey, and then go from there. Not just go out there and die basically. So I mean, you would know how I am if you know me. Um, the if you ever had to have a leader, I'd probably be the guy you wanted, because people were just getting sick in the Philippines and people didn't know why. I didn't know why. So they started putting the monkeys out there to try and figure out what the hell was going on, and they figured it out with the monkeys. And so because some of the monkeys died, and then they knew where was safe and where wasn't safe, based on that. So so then the Chernobyl reactor would be the second reactor.